Hey, if your employer lets you work out on your lunch break, do it. I didn't know how important this was until our gym got shut down at work for lead contamination. We've had a gym for many years at work, and nobody uses it. Nobody. Well, maybe 5 or 6 of us total use the gym, right? And I never realized how great it was to be able to just go down and work out on my lunch break until I didn't have it anymore, and I had to go work out when I wasn't working, which kind of sucks. It was nice because when I work out on my lunch break, I could get a half an hour in every day, no matter what, right? So any day that I worked, I got a half an hour in. Now people tell you half an hour ain't nothing, right? It's not even worth doing. Well, here's the thing, it is worth doing. If you do a half hour, 5 days a week, that's like what? An hour and a half of working out? I'm just kidding, I'm not that much of a meathead. But it's a significant amount of time. It's like going to the gym for 2.5 hours one day. But when you spread it out, it's more efficient, right? Because you can hit different things each day and you get your complete workout over the course of the week. If you only have time for 10 reps, you go downstairs to the basement or wherever your gym is at work and you do one set of curls, right? And then you come back the next time, you do a set of dips with all your stuff on, if you can. I can, but not everybody can. But you do one set of dips. You do whatever you can do while you've got all your stuff on when you're walking past the gym. And if you do that twice a day, every day that you're working, that's 10 sets you wouldn't have got in before, right? So, I don't know, real quick pro tip. If you can work out at work, like on your lunch, or you can work out directly before or directly after work, but especially if they're going to pay you on your lunch and you're going to work out, do it. It's worth it. All right. Well, we get a whole bunch of comments already, and it's 3 a.m. Well, 2:22 a.m. So it's not like I'm going to disturb too many other people here in the gym. The only other guy that's here has headphones on, and I can hear his music from where I was at, so I don't think he's going to be upset. Let's see what everybody says. Dude, what are you doing up so late? I'm on midnights. Holy crap, there are 50 people. Here's the question is, why are there 50 people that are up at 3 a.m., but when I stream at 4 p.m., everybody's all upset that I stream at weird hours, but when I stream at 4 p.m., only 20 people are watching. That's crazy. Robbie Diller says it's 12:20 a.m. and I have solar. Well, then go to bed. What are you doing watching this? Senpai Gaming says it's 3 a.m. Well, it's almost 3 a.m. here. John says, yeah, man, good morning. You must be in a significantly different time zone than me. Alex says, finally caught a live stream. Stortle's a third shift. Yep. Well, got a real bad lens flare. This place, it's like trying to film inside of one of the new Star Treks. I'm here, I'm gone. Good session. Never forget the legs. Nobody looks good with chicken legs. I do all right. They're still there. They're a little hairy. But I got problems with my one knee and my ankles, so I do what I can do, which is something I brought up before on streams, on Instagram videos and stuff. You got to do what you can do, right? As you get older, it limits your abilities to, work out, to do certain things. Guys with shoulder injuries better have a bigger leg day, right? So I do what I can. I do a lot with the leg stuff, it's a lot. I try to keep it under my body weight, so I'm not squatting 300 or anything like that. But I put some weight on the bar and I squat. And I can't run 3 miles anymore, but I go run a mile. You do what you can do, right? I can do upper body, so that's what I do. Because it's what I can do without hurting myself. I still manage to hurt myself sometimes. My elbows, I'm still only 5'2". My elbows can only take so much curls and stuff. Overhead presses on the shoulders. Dan says, a gym at work, I am not so lucky. That sucks. But I go to a lot of places around here, and they have a gym in the basement of the PD. Right, we have a gym in the basement of our PD, and I don't ever see anybody uses it. It's like you'll have a 100-man department, and like 4 guys will be using the gym, ever. Right, very rare to go in there and find someone else working out, which it shouldn't be that way. It's a physical, law enforcement's a physical sport. We should all be exercising, and why not? If they're paying you on your lunch break, and you can just go downstairs and hit some sets, then go downstairs and hit some sets. Drew says, fun tip. After a super hard workout session, wait 3 days to be at your strongest before you go again. Nah, what are you going to do? I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not so sophisticated to learn such things. Does a reckless driving charge DQ you? Oh, from getting a cop job? It would depend on what it was and if it was dropped down from something else and how long ago it was. All those things apply. If it was last year and you got... And there's the other thing, is that a charge is not a conviction, and charges aren't always held against you the same way that a conviction would be, right? Having an arrest for reckless driving and being convicted for reckless driving, two entirely different things. Andrew says, cardio? Yeah, well, I try to do the elliptical. The elliptical is probably the best way that I can get cardio because, like I said, knees and ankles problems. But I'm not going to make excuses like, well, I can't do cardio because I have knee and ankle problems. No, you get on the elliptical and you do it anyway. Right? And I walk a lot. I walk the dog a lot when it's nice out. And if I can, if it's not snowing or raining, I go run a mile. I try to do that, whenever I can, which is 2 or 3 times a week. I try to go every day, but, that's how life works. You're not going to go every day. Like the kids got gymnastics and stuff. You're not going to go every day. Pona says, yeah, I feel it. I hit it 1.5/2 a day. It's hard sometimes, though. I want to try what you're saying, though. If you can do it at work, do it at work. If not, a little bit every day is better than nothing or doing a whole bunch one day. Jose says, I honestly, no BS, just left the gym. Randall Lee says, only our FD has a gym right next to their couch and their stove. I guess they get options at least. We don't have a couch or a stove. Well, we do have a stove, but it doesn't work real well. Last time we fired over the stove, it started smoking. We're like, we're just going to shut this off now. Nabox says, Tommy, it's 1:21 for me, and I know it's later for you. Yep. 2:27. Robbie says, I'm tired. Go to bed, man. John Leonard says, at 19, I am 37 now. Okay. It's midnight in California. See, that's not that bad. Midnight's not that bad for going to the gym. I'm one of those crazy people. I'll be up for a while. Joker on patrol says, stay safe, brother. You do the same. Kevin says, I'm on midnights. Then you get to watch YouTube videos while you're working, don't you? At least you are now. Drewer says, I work nights too. Damn, 50. Yeah, there's a lot of people watching. Still 43. I'm 7 minutes into babbling about nothing, and there's still 43 people watching. That's pretty good. Joker says, I'm on patrol. I wouldn't admit that on the internet. Working Graves. You woke me up. I'm sorry. Hey, listen. The notification bell works both ways. Sometimes it's at noon on Tuesday and Thursday. Sometimes it's at 5 at noon at Tuesday and Thursday. And sometimes it's 3 a.m. on a Monday. You got to strike when the iron's hot. Nice to see your stream is up. It is. I don't know. YouTube has been wigging out about weird stuff. Like I said, I wasn't going to even try to monetize the live streams, right? I did a live stream like a couple days ago. Dave Spalding is the man, ! And I didn't even try to monetize it. I was like, I'm not even going to try with these live stream things anymore. YouTube monetized it on their own. They just decided, no, we're going to start putting ads on this. And they put it in my thing, monetized it. They even put mid-roll ads. And I was like, what is this? Whatever. There's no knowing what they even think about. Lockness says, I'm in bed watching, LOL. That's great. Leonard says, I work for AAA in Miami on graveyards. That sounds dangerous. I wouldn't want to be a AAA guy around here. I could just imagine in Miami. Jim says, LOL, I'm on days. I got to get up in 4 hours. Go to bed. Pona says, I am up because my training this week is 1700 to 000 Monday through Friday. Honestly, can you go to the gym for cardio before I hit the hay? Whew. That's a long day. Mike says, yeah, when I was full-time, I lost a bunch of weight. Unfortunately, I had to quit that department and go to reserve. I've gained it all back. I do that every time I'm on day shift. I gain weight. It's like going to breakfast and then eating lunch and then going home and eating. I actually eat 3 meals a day and then I gain weight when I'm on day shift. I'm bored at work. Yeah. Do you even lift, bro? I do, but I don't pretend like I'm that strong. I mean, on some stuff I am, but I think that's true of most people when they're in their 30s. Like, you can do some stuff pretty good, and the rest of it, you're like, I'm not so good at this. Drew says, go to a rock climbing gym. You will die. It's the best. I think that would probably be pretty fun. But at 3 a.m., I'd be afraid of like something breaking and falling and hanging myself or something like that. Randall Lee says, you should go tanning. I'm not going to go tanning. I'm afraid to go tanning. They have free tanning here at any time. I'm afraid to go tanning because I got sunburned a lot working at the scout camp when I was a kid and like a young adult, and I'm kind of afraid of like getting skin cancer now because I used to bake. I worked on a range and I would bake like I get like blisters on my forehead, and my shoulders, and stuff working there. And it's like I don't think tanning's a good idea for me. Dan says you should strip. No one wants to see that. No, nobody needs to see that. It would just look like a fursuit. Charleston says I got firearms qualification in the morning. It's 2:23. Go to bed. Although 2:23 is a good number. It's one of my lucky numbers. The box says, okay, I need to sleep. I can watch this tomorrow. Go watch it tomorrow. It's going to be up. It's not like I'm deleting it. Andrew says, what cardio should you do before going to the police academy? Everywhere I've ever heard of, and the place that I went was really big into running. So if you're like here, our power test is a mile and a half of like 13:46 or something for 21-year-old males, and that's the toughest standard, which isn't a real hard standard to start with, but that's the toughest standard. What you want to do is you want to meet that standard at that time, and then draw out the duration of the exercise and go longer. So you want to be running like 3 miles, 4 miles. And that was the hardest part for a lot of people. Unless you have a specific problem meeting one of the standards to enter, do a lot of running, because it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt you to get in better shape running. It's not going to hurt you to have the extra cardio endurance. It's going to help you with other things. And if you work, or if you go to an academy that does a lot of running, you're going to be thankful that you ran 3 miles a day. I know our state police academy here, they run everywhere. Craziness. I don't think I'd make it through now. Alex says, gym at the school I work nights is crap and usually locked, but we get free admission to the community center. That's why I work out at any time, because I can come here anytime. It's not the greatest gym in the world. There's no pool. I wish there was a pool. That'd be awesome, but I can come here anytime and work out. So when I'm bored, come work out. Haji Gamer says, I like to run, but shim splints don't help at all. I feel you. Deadite the Parasite. For police explorers, they give us a proxy card that gives us access to the PD gym. Out of the 33 explorers, I'm the only one who uses it. I like a lonely gym. Well, that's the thing is that this costs me $30 a month. I think $35 a month to come to any time. If they're going to give it to you for free, I don't see why people don't take them up on it. At least every once in a while. There's maybe 15 people out of 100 that actually use the gym ever. Travis says, I'm also the only police explorer that works out dead here on alone. Yeah. Pona says, yeah, I hit 24-hour fitness when I can. For some reason, 24-hour gyms are just not a thing. They are here. There's a lot of them. I actually had my choice of a few of them. Jose says, I kind of am bad and haven't been keeping up with your channel. But why did you shave? It's hard seeing you with no beard. It's work rules, new administration, lots of stuff's changing. The beard's got to go. We're getting issued new body armor. New armor carriers, and so I'm probably going to do a video on the stuff that I'm using now, like this minor changes from the last time that I did a duty belt and armor video, just to show people what I'm doing now, how things have kind of evolved, and some of the wear that goes on to the body armor and to the belt and all the equipment, so you can see like what honest wear over the course of a year really looks like. And then I'm going to have to get all new stuff. So I'm getting a new armor carrier. It's supposed to have like molly on the bottom and pockets at the top, and everything's going to be Velcroed again. I'm going to put police on the back finally. Maybe somebody's been watching my videos at work. I don't know. But we're going to put police on the back finally. So we're working on it. But the beard thing, it just had to go. It was the new rule. There's no sense fighting it at a certain point. You ever hear of Saint? Really? Dan says it's Monday. I think it was Monday. I don't even know. The man says, do you even lift? Somebody beat you to that joke, homie. Best way to prepare for PAT. I don't know what PAT is. Taco says, sit in the airport waiting on my flight. Well, so I guess this is as good a thing to do as ever. Xversify says, do you know anything about pre-service? I applied to my academy and got accepted, but not associated with any department. Is it easier to get or brand new? I don't know anything about getting into an academy when you haven't been hired by a police department, because here we have to be hired by a police department to go to the academy. I'm sorry. That's one of the big questions that I get. If I could get a hold of a guy who worked in Michigan and ask him, I think Mike the cop works in Michigan, you could ask him. Maybe he'll do a video on it. I'm not sure. Jake Kroll says it's 3:28 a.m. here in Michigan. It's getting there now, 2:30. Wah says, let's see, 450 pounds on bench or 600 on squat. I wish I could put up numbers like that. Leonard Wolf says, the internet here is crappy. You watch the stream in 144p. I might be streaming it at 144p right now. I don't know. Waz says, or 700 on the deadlift. That's like the back of a car. I don't know about that. I don't know how to get to that. Christina Fuller says, you get cancer from the lotion, not the sun. I'm not going to risk it. I think I'll just not tan anymore. Dan says, do you have CD players in the radio car, for the Eternal E and Nate Dogg album? Yeah, the new Explorers have CD players, but they don't have aux jacks, which is upsetting. Because the Impalas, like almost 10 years ago, had aux jacks, and Ford still hasn't put them in their Explorers. It's BS. All right. Pona says, I have a genuine question. The department I am in process with wants strict open palms out, strict pull-up. Any way to strengthen it? Do it. Just do pull-ups. You can if you go to a gym, there's an assisted pull-up machine where you put your knees on a pad and you assist pulling yourself up. Just do that. Do sets of that. Or do a pull-up and then come back 2 hours later and do another pull-up until you can do 2 pull-ups. And then do 2 pull-ups and do another pull-up in an hour until you can do 3 pull-ups and 4 pull-ups until you get to whatever number they want. That's all you can do. Christina says most ingredients are illegal in other countries. I don't know. What's up, dude? Says, how often do you work out? I work out when I can. And that's the honest answer. Right? When we had the gym at work, I worked out every day. At least at work. And then I come to the gym on my days off on midnights. And this month I've been on midnights and the gym at work is closed. And so I only work out like twice a week at the gym, like lifting. And then I try to supplement with running, which is why the last live stream I did like a couple weeks ago, I said I had been running because I was trying to run anything to keep up on it. I do what I can do, I can't tell you an honest number how many times I work out this. Like this week, I know I worked out 3 times. Last week, I think it was 4 or 5. But I do it as much as I possibly can. And I like it, so that helps. Nick says, is there any kind of stigma of being a security guard than a cop? I'm going to be applying to CHP. It takes a year to graduate from the college in May. Any advice? Well, being a security guard can be a good entry-level thing to get into being a police officer, but it depends upon what security company you work for. Some of them are really crappy and everybody knows it. Some of them are really good, so you want to get on with a good company if you're going to go that route. But I wouldn't even suggest it. Right? Like, if you're not really into doing security, go work on an ambulance. Like, go get a private ambulance job or work in an armored car company. Or just be good at whatever job you're doing now. Become like a part-time supervisor at it or a full-time supervisor at it if you can. The important thing isn't that you get into the industry of like security and law enforcement. It's that when you go in for a police job, you can show them stuff in your work background that shows that you're reliable and dependable, you're going to be a good employee, that you're not going to steal, things like that. That's what they're worried about. And that people trust you. Randall says, speaking of the you should strip comment, I remember showing up to a loud music complaint, which ended up being a bachelorette party, and they thought I was the stripper. Awkward. That has never happened to me because no one hires midget strippers that are as tall as me. I wish I was about 5 inches shorter, then I could be a midget stripper. I wouldn't have to be a cop anymore. They make like $500 an hour. Believe that? I would jump right on board. If I was like 4'10" instead of 5'2", I'd be a stripper in no time. Texas Lone Star State says, hey man, what's your schedule like? I don't know if you've talked about it. Like, do you work 4 days on, 3 days off? I work 4 days on, 2 days off. We get 1 training day a month that's on our days off, right? And we work the standard 3-shift rotation, and we rotate forward every month. It's exciting. Zach Gibby says, what do you think is the biggest stress factors for police officers? It depends on where you're at and what type of person you are. I can only talk about what's the stress factor for me, and I have a whole video on that. It's called Biggest Fears of a Cop or something like that. It's in the stream. It's in the playlist. You look it up. It's in there. It's got a picture of a headstone, and it says Tommy, or it's just free field training on the headstone, killed by a crackhead in a parking lot or something like that. Alex says, seems like the overnight audience is better for live streams, and it gives me something to do at work. This needs to happen more often. Hey, when I'm up, if I think about it, I will. Jose says, please collaborate with Officer 401. You all are both Bear knowledgeable. I think it would be great. I think it'd be great too. He's way more big time than I am, and we don't live anywhere near each other, so that'd be a little rough. Pona says, "LOL, it's hard to do pull-ups, bro." Nobody said it was easy, but if you got to do it, you got to do it. Brian says, "Any words of encouragement for joining law enforcement?" I got a whole channel of it. You're watching it. These are the words of encouragement, homie. Sam Lee 80 says, "Do you cringe when non-sworn LEO show you a badge? Also, no aux jack in the Ford Explorer is bull." That's true. No aux jack in the Ford Explorer is bull. Non-sworn LEO show you a badge. I don't know what non-sworn law enforcement officers would be. Here, they're all sworn Leos, or they're just other people that work at the PD. So, you mean like security guards? If it's in your wallet, I'm going to look at you weird. If you're not working at work and you have it like pinned to your belt next to a gun or something, I'm gonna look at you weird. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's a little weird. Xversify says, "Did I rely wrong with my local PD and they have a full Bluetooth suit they can hook their phone up to?" That's pretty cool. I don't got that. Haji Gamer said, "If Ford Explorer had aux ports, then I could imagine all the kids with their windows down blasting some rock." Well, we got CD players. I could put a CD in, but who the hell keeps CDs anymore? Waz says, "I'm working the night shift at the DOC group home here." Oh, I feel for you. I already feel for you. That's what I'm doing now. I'm in the process of being hired, but at the detention center, which is like grooming ground for PD and sheriff here. Well, good luck. Daniel Garcia says, "CrossFit or standard lifting?" Every time I've seen people doing CrossFit, it looked like a lot of people looking to hurt themselves, so I've never tried it. Dan Brewer has advice for people. That's cool. He says, "Do pull-ups, do negatives, get something to stand on, and get into a pull-up position, and then just lower yourself slow but steady." If you're starting from nothing, yeah, that sounds like good advice. There you go. Thank you, Drew. Joe Perrin says, "Thank you for doing what you do. Keep up the good fight." I'm trying. Tim Red says, "Hello." Hello. Waz says, "I'm in the final 3 with 3 positions being filled, though now I have to get by the background check, which is done at the same standards as the police here." All right, the background check isn't a big deal if you don't got things in your background. Don't worry about it. James Harper says, "Good morning. I'm amazed that you're streaming at 2:30 in the morning. Gotta love night shift. Favorite workout routine?" My favorite workout routine is whatever I can get done. I like weightlifting. I like weightlifting, which means that I have to be careful that I don't just end up just doing weightlifting. You know what I mean? Christina Foles says, "Keep it on. No offense. None taken." I don't even like looking at myself in the mirror. I'm kind of ugly. Jay Kroll says, "What is the pros and cons of being in law enforcement?" Pro, it pays pretty well here. It's cool. And you get like front row tickets to the greatest show on earth. I stole that from a TV show, but it's true. Con, you have to be up at 3 a.m. babysitting adults. It gets old. Babysitting adults at 3 a.m. gets old. Joe Crown Patrol says, "What's your opinion of the anti-FIFA group looking to cause trouble?" I don't know, whatever. I've never even run into them, so I don't care. Dan sums it up well. Pro is money, at least for me in California. Although you got to look at the cost of living in California. It's like working here. You got to look at the cost of living too. He says cons, bullets, at least for me in California. It's very similar pros and cons here in the Chicago area. Jose Gomez says, "Give us a pull-up." No. I gotta find somewhere to like rest my phone. It took long enough to find a spot I could do it over there. John Leonard says, "When I was in the Army, CrossFit hurt more people than it helped." I could see that. Sam Lee 80 says, "I think the Ford Explorer has Bluetooth option. When my apartment bought the lowest package, I'm pretty sure it doesn't have it." I haven't been able, if it's got Bluetooth option, I haven't been able to find it online. I know we have the lowest package. Taco05 says, "New to your channel, so far I've enjoyed your videos. I'm glad you like them." Officer Mike says, "Hey man, go to sleep." I can't, I'm not going to be able to sleep till like 5 a.m. James Harper says, When I tell people what I do, I describe myself as an adult babysitter. Funny that you just use the same words. It's true, especially if you're on midnights. You go to people's house and they're like, I want him out of here. And you're like, why? What's going on? What's the problem? They go, he won't let me use the remote controller. They set the thermostat too high. What are you talking about? Go to bed. It's 4 a.m. If I wasn't working, I'd be in bed, which is a lie normally when I say it, because I'd still be up. I was like, it's 4 a.m. What's wrong with you? Christina says, oh, you're not ugly. Pretty attractive, actually. I am not that kind of girl. Plus, I have a man. Okay, well, thank you for saying that. It's not nice to lie to people like that, though. You know, that's mean. That's mean. That's bullying. Deadite says, I went to training for Arizona POPAT test. 23 explorers showed up, and it is surprising how bad their eating habits are, and only 6 of us were in good physical condition, but I can hold my own. Oh, that's good. You're ahead of the game then. Xversify says, getting hit with OC spray in about 2 months. Any advice for relief? Here's a little tip. It might get you in trouble with the academy. Throw some water on your face. Put the baby soap on your face first, then let them spray you. And it'll come off easier. Because it won't like get into your pores, but it's going to get in your eyes. The best you can do is get baby soap, spray your eyes, scrub in baby soap. Spray your eyes with water, scrub in baby soap, then stand in front of a fan until it stops burning. And then you get to re-experience it every time you take a shower for the next couple days. It's fun. Haji Gamer says, California's full of cravies. I live not far from San Bernardino. That sucks. Deadite says, even during a 5-hour workout session, one of the explorers ate Cheetos during a break just before we were about to do a mile run with body armor on. That sounds like fun. Xversify says, my city population is 8,000. We have 6 patrol cars. They usually spend decent money when they get a new patrol vehicle. That's good. What's your view on corrections? I work on the state corrections in Texas, and I really get a lot more negative than I do positive. What's your view, if I may, no holding back? I've never had a problem with the corrections guys. I wouldn't want to do their job. When I've run into a corrections guy on the street, the only negative experience I've had with them is that they like to pop rounds in the air sometimes. At least they used to. Back in the day, we had a problem with you get corrections guys who'd be popping rounds off into the air to like scare kids off and stuff. So that's not fun. But I never had like all of our state corrections guys are pretty low key. Like they don't even want people to know they work at DOC. So I pull them over sometimes and I'll be like, they won't even mention that they work corrections. And I'll see the badge in their wall. It's like, oh, you work for IDOC? And they're like, yeah. All right, and they just keep getting their driver's license out of them. So, respectable. I've never had a negative experience with, definitely never had a experience with one of our state correctional officers here in Illinois. Texas, the Lone Star State says, have you ever thought about being a trooper? I don't like doing traffic, so no. Taco 05 says, don't shave before getting sprayed. Good OC advice. Sam Lee says, do you wear your vest under your shirt or in a carrier? I'm currently getting used to the blower vest carrier, not bad when trying to stay cool off because you can just take it off during lunch break. Yeah, I like to wear mine in a carrier so I can whenever policy allows me to. Randall says, OC spray is terrible. Mine is stored in the garage somewhere, never carrying it at work. Every time somebody uses OC spray at work, like in a fight, I always end up getting it. Like they'll spray them and it'll like bounce off them and atomize in the air. It's everywhere. I don't like using it either. Kittrell Carter says, what is your relationship with the State Patrol? Is there a rivalry? No, not really. They do their highway stuff, and I do my city stuff, and if they pull people over into the city, we come back them up and make sure they're all right, and if we pull people over on the highway, they come back us up and make sure we're all right. But we don't really pull people over a lot on the highway at all, and they don't really pull people over on the city wall, so it's not a real big deal. It doesn't come up much. There really isn't a rivalry unless it's like the accident happened right on the line, and we're like, oh, no, that's your accident. Dan says, traffic is life, don't do much. James says, it's a 6'4", over 300 pounds, extremely intoxicated corrections officer. Thought I called him an MFer when I told him to come talk to me, otherwise our local corrections guys were cool. Yeah, you see, I've never had a problem with him. Jose says, are you going to stay in patrol or would you ever try and go be a detective or training academy? I like patrol. I've been offered other stuff. It's just not for me. It kind of upsets people at work that I'm like, I don't want to take the promotional exam. And they're like, why? And I'm like, I really don't want to do it. Do I want to be in charge of people like me? No. And I don't want to sit at a desk. I like my little rolling office. And I like that in patrol, every day starts as like a clean slate, right? It's never like, oh, I've got to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do this today. Nope. Come to work, put my stuff in the car, start driving, and I start answering calls. And then at the end of the day, I log off and it's done. Everything has to, by policy, everything has to be done when I'm done, and I'm done. It's gone. Very rarely do I know I'm going to do something when I go to work the next day. Unless I'm training somebody, I might have a plan, but that it never goes to plan because I have a plan for what I'm going to do, and then something else comes up, we end up doing something else anyway. Wow, says traffic is the foundation of aggressive criminal patrol. At least I was told that, LOL. I'm bigger on doing street stops, people walking, and cars parked in odd places, which isn't necessarily traffic. I know that traffic is the easiest way to do aggressive patrol work, but easiest way doesn't always glean you the best results. Like if you want to go after burglars, or car burglars, car thieves late at night, you got to go after guys on bicycles riding around at 3 o'clock in the morning. Not exactly traffic, but effective. I've never worked K9, Leonard. Never worked K9. Brian says, do you think doing a security job is a good idea before attempting to join the police academy? Not necessarily. It doesn't give you any real huge advantage over, say, working a private ambulance company or something like that. Deadite says, is it bad that I want to do border patrol instead of officer just to avoid domestic disturbances? No, not necessarily. If some guys are into doing traffic, and if they like doing traffic, then be a state trooper. Whatever. If you want to do border patrol just so you don't have to go to domestics, if you really hate doing domestics, then do border patrol. All the work needs to be done. Zach Kupel says, I pull more drugs out of vehicles than anywhere else. See, I'm not really into doing narcotics investigations. If I was, when they offered if I wanted to go and attack several times, I would have been like, hell yeah, I want to go and attack. But it's not, drug enforcement isn't my thing. So, whatever. I would rather catch a burglar, right? Where there's this person's going to break into these people's cars. You know what I mean? I get that guy off the street. Plus, it's taken more seriously in the courts here. Getting a burglar is taken more seriously than getting a dude with, an 8-ball. Orange Tang FT says, can you join the police with a other than honorable discharge asking for a friend? I have no idea. Wasn't in the service. Haven't ever had to deal with it. You'd have to ask whatever the recruiter for whatever police department you're going to. Christina says, instead of baby shampoo, like the lotions have ingredients that are so dangerous they're illegal in other countries, do you know of anything else? Maybe coconut oil, asking for hippie natural types. I have no idea. I've always used baby shampoo. That's how I get it out of my face with baby shampoo. The baby shampoo worked really well. It's not like you're getting OC sprayed every day, right? You're going to get OC sprayed once during training, and then OC is becoming less popular as time goes on. I've only gotten it in my eyes a couple of times when I was working, and only once did I actually have to wash it out from work. John says, no plan ever survives first contact. That is true. Kittrell says, have you thought about possibly doing motors? I'm 5'2". I have a 27-inch inseam, which means I'm pretty sure I can't reach the pedals on any of our motorcycles at work. So even if I wanted to, I wouldn't. And then I'd have to do traffic division. Our motors are only traffic, so. Christina says, and if you were interested, I confirm that I know what I'm talking about with news sources such as New York Times. Just wanted to throw that out there. That's fine. I don't. Ugh. For the amount of times that I use baby shampoo, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Alex says, does military experience make a candidate look more appealing to a police department, or is it just a myth like ticket quotas? Well, neither of those are really myths. Ticket quotas used to exist, and now agencies find ways around them by having a point system that assigns more points to tickets than it does to other stuff. I can't believe we still have 50 people watching. But they assign tickets more points than other stuff to encourage you to write tickets. It's still kind of like a quota. My place doesn't have it, but I've heard of other places that do. I know other people that work at places that have that same type of quota point system. And military experience, where I'm at, actually counts as education time. So 4 years active duty military counts as a bachelor's degree. So it definitely helps. Christina says, my 6-year-old daughter said she wanted to be a cop. Any advice for a little girl? Not at 6. You know, I tell my kids, follow your dreams. I don't care if you're a taxi driver, as long as you're the best taxi driver out there, right? So at 6, that's all you can do for it. From what I know. I have 2 kids, you just encourage them, right? Be like, yeah, totally. Work toward that goal. Just be the best at it. Texas Lone Star City. Ever thought about going federal like FBI, ICE, etc.? No. No, that's basically just taking a detective job, unless you work FBI police, which is like guarding the building and the grounds and the area around FBI buildings. So there really aren't a lot of federal jobs by me where I live that are police jobs, right? Like there's the VA police, but here in Chicago, like the VA police aren't answering calls and stuff other than like just inside their building area. They got like the GSA police, which is like it's just they're investigations jobs and they're like really high end security type jobs with law enforcement powers, but they're not. It's not police work the way I do police work, and so I really wouldn't want to do it. If I want to be a detective, I would just say yes to being a detective. I wouldn't have to go to the FBI or DEA or ICE or anything. Officer Mike says, what do you think about emergency management agencies? We have ESDA here. They do all right. They move dead bodies for us. That's nice. Zach says, the best thing about law enforcement is there are so many variations of it, and you can do whatever you want. If you want special assignments, go for it. If you want to do traffic, do it. The world is ours. I would agree. That is nice. That you don't get pigeonholed into one little job. Like law enforcement has such a spectrum. Zach says, how do you cope with constant changing shifts? Do you experience burnouts when working? I feel like I'm extremely lethargic on patrol after a shift change. Me too. I drink lots of coffee. That's my best advice for you. I drink lots of coffee and I keep into some sort of schedule, and I just keep with that schedule until I'm done. The problem with changing shifts is the movement of the schedule around, right? Where like on midnights, I work all night and I go home immediately and go to sleep. And some guys work all night and then stay up for half the day and then go to sleep and they wake up and go to work, right? But you gotta do one or the other. You can't move it around all the time, otherwise you'll never get adjusted to it. Daniel Garcia says, is it a good idea to contact backgrounds before you apply with a question? You mean at the department? Sure, if you have a question, contact them. But they're not going to be called backgrounds, just whoever's going to be assigned your thing, or whoever's going to be assigned your background investigation. And some places firm it out, so they might not even know. They might do a background investigation and just return it to the administrator. And they might not have any decisions that they can make about it. Jose says, in prison we get sprayed a lot or deal with a lot just because it's all we have. That sucks. Have you ever gotten a chance to use a PR-24 or other rigid batons? How do they compare to collapsible batons in effectiveness? I tell people with batons, you gotta think about a collapsible or extendable baton like a handgun, right? We use them because it's what we have on us. If we knew we were going into a big riot, we would bring the big old honkin' hickory stick, right? So think of the big old honkin' hickory stick the same way you do the shotgun, right? If you knew you were going to a gunfight, you wouldn't take out you wouldn't bring your pistol, you'd bring a shotgun or a rifle or something. You bring a long gun. If you know you're going to a fight, you bring the big old honkin' hickory stick. If you know there's going to be, if you know it's stick time, you bring the hickory stick, right? If you don't, if it's like, oh, this happened all of a sudden, then the extendable baton is what you have on you. The big hickory stick is obviously going to be more effective. They're longer, they're heavier, they're easier to hold on to, they don't collapse on your hands. They've got a bunch of advantages, but they're not always there. The PR-24 is different. And the PR-24 is a control tool that has other uses other than just being a whacking stick. Xversify says, I appreciate the tips on OC spray. More worried about that than the taser cert, to be honest. The taser cert lasts 5 seconds. You're zapped 5 seconds, it hurts, you fall down, you feel a little lethargic, and then you're done. 2 minutes later, you feel right as rain. Other than the little probe marks on your back, you're right as rain. The OC stays with you. James says, I'd rather be tased 8 days out of 7 instead of getting sprayed again. Me too. Mercilius Hobby says, what's your opinion on bounty hunters? We don't have them here, so I don't really have an opinion on them. I do wonder why so many bounty hunters on YouTube and Instagram like wear camouflage plate carriers. I don't get that, but that's my only thoughts on it. Randall says, my kid wants to be the lady that walks ponies around in circles at the carnival. I encourage it. I would too. Your kid's cute too. Polvnek Hannes says 21 or 26 inch baton. I use a 21 inch baton as my collapsible baton, and I have a big, it's like 30 inch long for the old hickory stick. So, whatever, use what you can use. Domino Tasnion says, any police jobs that let you travel? A buddy of mine works for DEA. Another one works for Secret Service. And dude at Secret Service travels constantly, all over the world. He's got pictures of him with like cops from Israel and stuff, the Israelis, at the airport. He goes everywhere. So if you want to travel and you want to be a cop, Secret Service is the way to go. They go all over the place. Haji Gamer says, free field training has come a long way when his chat is multilingual. I don't even know what they're saying, but I'm just going to leave it up there. Joe Perrin says, is the murder rate in Chicago as rampant as the media portrays it to be? Yes, it is. It is. In fact, I think that what the media doesn't say about the crime in Chicago, and not just in Chicago proper, but in all of Cook County and in the collar counties around it, is the number of crimes that would be big news other places that are not even news here. Like the news says, there were 6 people shot this weekend and killed, but they don't say how many people, they'll say 6 people were killed, they'll say 6 people were shot. They might say, 47 people were shot, 6 people were killed. They don't tell how many people were stabbed or beat with bats or hit with bottles or run over with cars. Like, it's the stuff they don't tell you about that in most of America would be big news. Like, if somebody got purposefully run over with a car and crippled, that would be huge news in most places in the U.S. And it can happen in the town next door and I won't even hear about it here. I can't read all of these when people are talking back and forth. I'm sorry. Any advice for the oral board? Just be a normal human being. Taco05 says, throw the PR-24 at the suspect feet when they ran. Oh, good luck. Polveknak Haas says, in bail enforcement in Nevada, we wear plain clothes with an identification undershirt, no plate carrier. See that? I never understood the plate carrier thing. Deadite says, my dumbass was playing around with a collapsible baton, ended up hitting my head, stayed in bed for the next day. For now on, I'm staying away from them. You're not supposed to spin them around. You're supposed to swing them, and like at knee level, dude. Well, not at knee level, but down below your waist. Texas Lone Star State says, does a potential agency actually interview your past employers? Depends on where you work. Some small places won't, some small places will. The feds will get all the way up there without lube to do your background investigation. So if you're going to work for DEA, ATF, Secret Service, FBI, something like that, know that they're going to contact your contacts. They're going to contact the references you give, and they're going to have them give references for them to check on top of that. And they're going to go do home visits with your references. Daniel says, you have no idea how fast a crowd of cockroaches will scatter once they hear the crack of that crackling taser or Monodoc friction lock. It's beautiful. Kittrell says, what's your opinion on body-worn cameras? We don't have them where I work yet. So, until I use one, I can't really give an opinion. Jose says, so is the gym the new live stream spot? It's got good Wi-Fi, and I'm bored. And I need to rest anyway. I should probably get going. It's 3 a.m. Xversify says, I agree with your statement about the crime rate. We have maybe one murder a year in my town, and when there is a murder shooting, our PD and sheriff's office combine to form a SWAT team. LOL. Why do they need a SWAT team for a murder? Normally when murders happen, it's over and we show up. But I feel you. I know what you mean. Big nostril? That one? Is it this one? Is that one big? Or is it this one that's big? Which? That one? You feel better now? Mary new? Randall says, my employer interviewed all my contacts, even my neighbors. Mine did too. Of course, Mitch did my background. So he was a little more legit than when they farm it out. But mine was done. Steven says, I've changed jobs 4 times in the past 3 years. Is that kind of inconsistency going to affect my chances of getting a job in law enforcement? It'll affect your chances of getting a job anywhere. Job hopping doesn't look good to anybody. Deadite says, so federal U.S. Marshals will check my Pornhub history? That's the thing, is if you have a sign-in and they get a hold of your sign-in, they might. I've never heard of it happening, but I know there's agencies that are requiring people to give them their login and their username and login password for their Facebook and stuff. The King Guerrero says, do you recommend Safe Life Vest for officers? If much, how much is it? The 3As are $400, and I do. They're very protective. We've shot them. You can see what they protect against. We've shot the Safe Life vests, I've shot a helmet, and I've shot an old level 2 vest. And you can see the radical difference between used level 2 body armor and a level 3A and 3A plus Safe Life vest. And the price difference isn't that huge between the two. Smith & Wesson Model 19 says, maybe a dumb question. Who cleans up crime scenes or accidents after the investigation is completed? Is it a city department or is it contracted out to companies? I can only talk about the way it is here. If a body has to be moved or something, it depends on where it's at. If it's on the street, and we've got a body on the street, whatever cleanup needs to be done, the police department along with ESDA removes the body, and then if there's cleanup on the street, and it's a public roadway, sometimes the fire department will come down and just wash down the sewer. If it's inside a building and it's a public building, we contract out with a company called Aftermath Inc., and Aftermath Inc. comes out and cleans it up. And if it's in a private residence, then those people have to pay to have whatever it is cleaned up. And we suggest Aftermath Inc. because it's one of the few companies that does it here. Mr. Stranger says, after you become an officer, how often do you do work-related training? Here we get hired, and you get about 12 to 16 weeks of the academy, depending on what agency you go to. Then you get 5 to 6 months of field training, depending on what agency you go to. And then after that, there's at least 8 hours of training every month that you're supposed to do in order to meet all of the state requirements. Minimum. Xversify says, dude, 3 local PD, 3 sheriff, and our local state trooper all show up to a single car non-fatality car crash. It's very quiet here. That's good, man. That's a good place to live. Adam says, would Asperger's be a non-starter for a Leo career? Would it be too big a liability issue? I have no idea. Right off the top of my head, I don't know what Asperger's is, so I can't tell you. Texas, the Lone Star State says, would you recommend being a cop in a small town under 20,000 population or a big city over 50,000, 150,000? Whatever you want to do. I would go where the money is that you want to work. It's a job. It's not about the name that's on your uniform or nothing, right? If someone's going to pay me to sweep floors and they're going to pay me $120,000 a year, I would be Mr. Floor Sweeper. And this channel will be about sweeping floors. Christina says a friend of mine said he found a cop's gun holster in the trash. Don't know how true it is, but is it legal to own police gear? In the United States, I'm not aware of anywhere that you're going to get in trouble for owning just a holster. I don't think that's a problem. Damiano Tassone says, wow, I wish I had that kind of training. You come be a cop in Illinois, in the Chicagoland area. That's pretty standard here. Christina says, how much are you required to know about the law? I know you're not lawyers, but I assume you have some kind of training, right? Well, the training on the law is ongoing. That's the thing, is that people don't realize that lawyers and judges, like, they have rooms full of books and computers where they look the stuff up when they have to make a decision. And cops have to know enough to be functional on the street, right? So we do, I think it's like a 16-hour block in the academy here. It's been a long time for me, but I think it's like a 16-hour block in the academy here. And then after that, you do law updates. And we have training keys, which is like this pamphlet that comes out every month, sometimes 2 or 3 pamphlets a month, talking about how, the laws have changed. And you have to keep up on it. And case law is a huge thing. Like, knowing the statutes, people are like, I'll just look up the statute. Knowing the statute is only half of it. You have to know the case law, too. It's an ongoing thing. It's hard to quantify because you have to do it all the time. All right, I lost my spot. Resolute Support says, hey, Free Field Trainer, are you in the department's gym? No, this is Anytime Fitness. Robert Rupp says, what are the most time-consuming types of reports to write? Here it's either car accidents with an injured person or domestic violence calls. Greetings from Germany. Domestic violence calls don't take much time to do a report on here. I think the biggest one is if you get something, a complex 1050, which here is a motor vehicle collision, a complex one. So you get like more than 2 cars crash, and the more of them, the worse off it is, with a fatality and a DUI and suspendeds and stuff. But it's just a lot of paperwork. If you know how to do any one, it's not hard to do. It just takes a long time. Joe says, let's talk paperwork. I know there's a lot. What exactly does that mean in terms of actual time commitment per day on average? A Leo friend of mine described it as job as a secretary with a gun. That's pretty accurate here. I like to tell people for every minute that I spend doing, I have to spend at least 5 minutes writing. Right? So if I go to domestic and I'm there for 10 minutes and I lock somebody up, I'm probably going to have an hour and a half of processing that person in and all the paperwork involved and getting it all squared away and bonding them out and all of that. Well, for a domestic, I wouldn't be bonding them out. I'd be sending them to court in the morning, but you're at least 5 minutes for every minute of doing that you're going to do. And sometimes it's a lot worse than that. Sometimes it's 10 minutes for every minute that you're there. But it's an exponentially more time doing paperwork as opposed to doing police work. The work that police do takes very little time. You go to the call and the decision's made in a few minutes. And then the paperwork involved is enormous. Now, the opposite of that is like for something that you're going to be on a scene for a long time, you're going to be on a homicide scene, protecting that homicide scene. You might be out there for 3 hours and do a 3-line supplemental report, but those are fewer and farther between. Most, they go to a car crash, you get out and you're like, oh, those are the 2 cars, collect the information. You're done with it 5-6 minutes if nobody's hurt. You get back in your car and now you got 45 minutes worth of paperwork to do. The King Guerra says, what do you answer when asked what you have done to prepare yourself for this job? You work out, you go to school, you join the military, you do whatever you can do to get ready for the job. It's not that hard. DJ Raptor X says, Tommy, are you in a command position at your department? Obviously, you're an FTO, but are you a sergeant? You'd make a good sarge. No, I'm not. I've never even taken the promotional test. I have no interest in it right now. So, an FTO. I like to drink a cup of coffee at night, sit in the passenger seat with the book and be like, today we're going to talk about Motor vehicle collisions. What do you know about motor vehicle collisions from your time at the academy? Talk back and forth for a while and then be like, all right, now we're going to go over this training task. We're going to talk about motor vehicle collisions. It's my calling. It's what I like. Everybody likes different things. I don't know that I'd make a good sarge, but thank you. Yeah, I'm just going to skip over things that we've had in the playlist. All right, this is going to be the last one because we're coming up 56 minutes here. Drew says, when you have someone pulled over, what info comes up about them? Also, does it differ from what you see just looking up a plate from behind the person at a light? Here's the thing, when you run a license plate in the cars here, you could either get the plate back, and whether it's wanted, through Leeds or NCIC, and you could also get the plate and the person, or the plate, the person, their concealed carry record. It depends on how it's run and what's attached to the plate by the Secretary of State's office. So the answer to your question is it depends. Unfortunately, that's the best answer I can give. All right? So that's it. That's most of the comments. I had to skip some of them because there's people talking back and forth. It's hard to read and be entertaining. So, till whenever I release the next one, we'll see you guys later. And make sure you work out on your lunch if you can because it sucks having to do it on your own. Later, guys.